I was just sitting here going through my email when I got a wild hair at my ass to talk about Life is Strange and why I loved it so much. I don't know, these things happen. So, like most of my videos, I'm just going to talk about things that I haven't thought about prior. As in, I don't have any script, I have nothing structured, I'm just going to start talking, and hopefully you can follow. So for those of you who don't really know what Life is Strange is, it is an episodic, choose-your-own-adventure-ish, story-ish, game-ish. So you play as this girl named Max. You're at this very prestigious school of the arts. She's 18, it's kind of like a high school of sorts. And some weird shit goes down, thus the name of the game, which is Life is Strange. And you are her, you assume her person. You make her decisions, you tell her what to do, when to do it, how to do it, whatever. But what's really cool about this is that while a lot of the game banks on the decisions that you make, and a lot of the decisions you make will affect the rest of the game, there is a nifty little rewind feature that allows you to rewind to the point where you made that decision. So let's say someone comes up to you and is like, hey, do you want some coffee? And you say, yes, as Max, and the person hands you coffee, but it spills all over her, and now she's like, oh, fuck, I have burns, this sucks. You could rewind the game to the point where he's offering Max coffee, and you could be like, no, fuck you, I don't want your coffee, I already know what's going to happen if I take it. And she retains all of that knowledge. So it's really cool. It's a really cool feature, really cool nifty game mechanic, and it's good if you're like me and you overthink everything, because then you have the ability to rewind and change your decisions, and it's awesome. The game starts out with Max at high school. You know, she's recently been accepted. She's been there for a little while, and she's like, oh my god, this school is so you expect her to say so amazing, but there are some things, some people there that suck, and she's just going through your typical high school shit. And what I found really, really rewarding about this is we've all, well, maybe all of us, but a lot of us have been through high school already. And for those of us that are, you know, several years past graduation, I'm coming up on my 10-year reunion, holy shit. You know, I feel like I personally have learned a lot since the days of high school, and I've learned that it's okay to be yourself, that you know, you can express yourself, follow your passions, your dreams, and just do you. And that's a very cliched thing to say, but it's a lesson I feel like unfortunately we don't learn until, you know, we're at least in our mid-20s of life, and then we look back upon our high school years and we're like, oh man, I wish I would have been myself more, followed my dreams, stuck up for myself more, etc., etc. You know what I mean? So what's really cool, and what was really cool for me is you know, back in high school I definitely wasn't the person I am today. I was a lot more quiet. I didn't really parade my nerd flag around loud and proud, and I wish I would have, because now it's funny, now that I'm out of high school, I've met a lot of people that I went to high school with that I never was friends with, and they're like, oh yeah, we all love video games. And I'm like, why didn't we band together in high school and take over the world? So I kind of have that regret. So with Max, I feel like I'm able to kind of guide her. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm like, oh, young one, let me bestow upon thee mine knowledge of wisdom or something, and let me help you have the best high school you have, and let me help you stay so true to yourself and stick up for yourself and do what makes you happy. So for that reason, Life is Strange was a very rewarding game for me to play, because I felt like I was kind of guiding this 18-year-old girl along a path that I would have taken had I been her, with the knowledge that I have that only comes with growing and maturing and all that kind of stuff. Now, early on when the game first released, a lot of people were criticizing the characters and how stereotypical they were. You know, you have the football jocks, you have the bitchy blonde rich girl who's the queen of the school, you have your low-key dudes, you have your overweight nerd guy who stays next to himself underneath a tree with glasses, you know, and granted, those are stereotypes, but you know, I knew all of those people in high school. I mean, not the characters in Life is Strange, but I knew bitchy, blonde, rich girls. I knew the jocks. I knew the poor nerd guy sitting underneath the tree. You know what I mean? And that was another reason why I was really able to connect with the game. I'm not going to go into spoilers, but Max has a friend who has a very destructive home life, and this friend is not going down a very good path, and I had that friend in high school, and well, actually I had that friend through middle and high school, and it was so similar. Max's experience in this game was so similar to my experience with this friend and that whole situation. It was quite eerie. It was really weird, and it just kind of connected me again to the game on a whole new level, I would say unlike any other game I've played before. In fact, I will say that Life is Strange is the game that I've become the most emotionally invested in, the game that I connected with the most, the game that really spoke to me the most. And I never would have expected that from Life is Strange. I mean, I just downloaded the first episode, what was it, like for $5? On a whim. I didn't know anything about it. I'm like, hey, I'll check this out. And holy crap, for that game to become like the game that I most resonate with, it's just weird. Another element of Life is Strange that I really, really enjoyed was all of the snooping. There is so much snooping in that game. I just love it so much. You can go through people's dorms, only during certain parts of the game. There are notes you can read, journals you can look at, garbages to rift through. It's crazy, and it's really fun for me because I like that in games. I like being able to snoop and unravel as much of the story as I can. I like to discover the behind the scenes information that the normal plot just won't take you through. And this is funny because it reminds me of a game I used to play back, gosh, it came out like 1997, and it was a string of games. I think the first one in the series is called Rocket's New School. My camera just cut out, so I'm sorry if the angle is different or off or anything like that. So anyway, so the string of games called, they followed a girl named Rocket. And the very first installment of the series is called Rocket's New School. And it followed a girl entering her first year of grade 8. And now when you're 9 years old, the life of an 8th grader is just so much more exhilarating and sounds so much better than your plebid, like, 5th grade existence. So to me, I was like, oh my god, like, I'm assuming the role of an 8th grader. Oh my gosh. And my mind was blown, you guys, because you can search the other students' lockers. And that's when I knew I had a snooping issue. Thankfully, my snooping, I shouldn't call it an issue, I should call it a snooping fetish. Thankfully, my fetish is only applies to that of like fictional in-game stuff. I have no interest in snooping in any of your IRL business. I have my own life to worry about. But so what was so cool about it is you could read notes that kids had written to each other, and Rocket was a new girl, so she was picked on, and of course there was a blonde bitchy girl there, and then you had your friend, and then you had your crush named Ruben, and you would snoop Ruben's locker and try to find out how he felt about you through his like notes and drawings and journal entries, and oh my god, I just loved it so much. So Life is Strange felt like a very evolved, mature version of Rocket's New School and the entire Rocket series. So for that reason, it was really cool. I was like, oh man, like I would never have envisioned that I was 9, like 18 years later, that I would be here playing a game so similar to this Rocket game, but it feels so much more like a mature evolution of it. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. I never thought I'd play a game like this again. I love the high school settings. I don't know why. I just have a thing with them. They're fun, and again, I think it makes me feel like it gives me a chance to relive high school all over again. Not that I even really have like any regrets about high school besides, you know, the ones that I wish I would have been more outspoken. I wish I would have been more like myself, but you know, nothing like too major, but it's cool. It's cool to like relive high school as someone else. Yeah, does that make sense? I don't even know if that makes sense. And of course, I could talk about how great I think the story is and how the characters evolve and how much shit just goes down in that game and how freaking intense it gets and how I cried like a baby during that game. I was gonna say a bitch. I cried like a bitch. Let's just be real. It's really good. So what I would recommend is that you give it at least like the first 2 or 3 episodes. You know, each episode's what, like $5. I think you can buy the enhanced edition. I think it's called the enhanced edition. I'm not sure. Online, it's only $40. It gets you the whole game plus soundtrack and an art book if you're kind of into collecting like I am. Otherwise, just spend the $10 or however much it is and get the first couple episodes and try them out. And if you like the way it plays, if you kind of like the whole mechanic of it, just keep going and it's fun. And you get text messages in the game and there's a journal to read and there's snooping, friends. Snooping, and plus it was a really fun game for me, so maybe you can play it and maybe it'll be just as fun for you. If not, oh well. I don't even know how, whatever. Anyway, I think I got out all that I wanted to say about Life is Strange, that it just resonates with me on so many levels, and I really loved it, and I just got so into that game and just connected with me more than any game ever has before. So anyway, Life is Strange is really, really good. You did a really good job, Don't Nod Entertainment. Love you guys, you're awesome and rad, and do more please, thanks. Thank you for watching my rambling, and I will see you next time for the next rambling video.